start lying down in constructive rest. So knees bent, soles of feet on the floor, about hip width distance, and then walking the heels slightly away from the sit bones, well, a reasonable way away from the sit bones. You'll feel the back of the pelvis able to become heavy against the floor while the lower back is light and slightly lifted. And taking your arms out to the side of the body with the palms facing up, and you can press into the back of the head, draw your shoulder blades down your back as you lift them, and then release them into the floor. Take a little shuffle back and lengthen the crown of your head towards the back of the room. Chin slightly in. And taking a deep inhale breath through the nose as you exhale, release any tension from the body. Sensitize to the contact points with the mat and the floor. Cultivate a sense of surrendering into the mat and the floor, especially with the exhale breath. Allow your abdomen to soften so that it's free to expand with your inhale breath. Letting it sink back towards the spine with your exhale breath. Let your jaws release away from each other, your brow broaden, and the skin around your eyes soften. And as you bring your gaze inwards, just taking a little check-in with the internal landscape, little journey through the sensations of the body, your emotional tone. Just observing. And sensitizing to the feeling of the air as you breathe, follow the journey of the breath. Gradually inviting your breath to become more expansive on the inhale. Gradually beginning to fill the whole of the ribcage space. Expansion of the side ribs, the back of the body, and taking the air in all the way up underneath the collarbones. Allow your breath to settle back into its natural rhythm for you today, still breathing through your nose on your inhale and exhale breath. And raising the arms, sweeping them along the floor, taking them over the head. And interlace the fingers and the thumb. You can either reach the knuckles towards the back of the room or turn the palms towards the back of the room. Yeah, like you're reaching away through the palms or the knuckles. A sense of broadening your upper back. That you're drawing the shoulder blades into the floor as you extend through the arms. You might take a few deeper breaths in this position, expanding the side ribs under the armpits with your inhale breath. And then straightening your legs, extend the legs towards the front of the room. For a moment, reach away through the heels and flex the toes back towards the shins. Now engaging the muscles at the front of the legs to extend the muscles at the back of the legs. Reach through the palms or the knuckles. Take another deep inhale breath. As you exhale again, try and broaden the shoulder blades into the floor and maybe draw the navel in towards the spine. And relax the legs for a moment and start to point the toes towards the front of the mat, maybe squeezing them together, emphasizing the arch of the foot. And then relax that action and keeping the arms over the head, release the interlace of the fingers. Hook your first finger and thumb on the right hand around the left wrist and walk your shoulder blades over towards the right side of the mat. And walk your heels over towards the right side of the mat. And if you can hook the left ankle over the right ankle, then do that. So still surrendering the body into the floor. Breathing towards the outer left hip, left side of the rib cage. Relaxing any tension in the legs, just letting the left leg rest down on the right. And then unhooking the foot, walk the feet back to the center of the mat, the shoulder blades back to the center of the mat, and change the grip to the left finger and thumb holding the right wrist. Walk the shoulder blades over towards the left of the mat, the heels over towards the left of the mat, and hook the right foot over the left if that feels comfortable and possible. And then get a sense of release in the body, just relaxing at the ankles and letting the legs become heavy. Directing your breath towards the right outer hip, side of the rib cage. And walking the shoulder blades back over to the center of the mat, unhooking the right foot, walking the heels back over to the center of the mat. Release your arms, bring your arms down to the sides of the body. Turn the palms to the ceiling again. And you can draw the shoulder blades down the back, lifting them off the floor. And raise the right arm to the height of the shoulder. Bend your knees, bring the soles of the feet to the floor, and roll over to the right. Bring the left arm over with you, and just place the palms on top of each other. Then check that your knees are stacked on top of each other. And bring the shins at a right angle to the thighs if you can. Thighs are pretty much right angle to the torso. Now you can release your head down to the floor. Might not fully land. And then lifting the left palm, take the left arm back behind you. But keep your knees stacked. So you're not rolling over to the left, you're just reaching that left arm back behind you. Feel like you're releasing the left shoulder blade down towards the floor. You'll probably feel a stretch through the left chest and armpits. And you're just reaching the arm back. If you've got strong rotation in the spine, that left shoulder blade might land on the floor, but it's more likely not to. Keep reaching away though through the left middle fingertip and direct your breath towards the left armpit. And reach the fingertips towards the top of the mat for a moment with that left arm and start to create a circling movement. So you'll turn the palm down as the palms come to cross. Keeping it down as you then bring it down alongside the torso and starting to turn the palm to the ceiling again as you take that arm back in line with the shoulder. Continue those circles with a slow, slow, controlled movement. Palm turns down as you cross the other palm and move the arm alongside the torso. Palm starts to turn to the ceiling, taking a good reach back behind you before you bring the arm back over the head. Keep that movement going for a couple more circles. Allowing the chest to open to the ceiling as you reach the arm back behind you. And when you've completed the circles, bend at the elbows and bend the knees a little bit more, roll everything back to the center and then keep moving, going to the other side. Left arm is out in line with the shoulder. Come all the way over so that the knees stack. Let the head rest and then take the right arm back behind you in line with the shoulder. Keep the knees on top of each other, the outside of the left thigh on the floor. Have a sense that you're sinking the right shoulder blade back down towards the floor, but it may not land. Reach through the right middle fingertip. Direct your breath towards the right side, chest and armpit area. And then start to raise the arm so you're pointing towards the top of the mat. And continue to circle, turning the palm towards the floor as you come round to cross the other palm and bring the arm alongside the torso. And then starting to turn the palm to the ceiling as you reach the arm back behind you. Let the chest open as much as you can towards the ceiling as it reaches behind you, and then continue slow, controlled circling through that shoulder area. And another couple of circles, reaching the arm back, letting the shoulder blade drop back. And then when the palms come back to cross, bending at the elbows, rock back to the center with your knees still bent, and then lift the soles of the feet, cross at the ankles, and holding on to the shins just below the knees. Lift your head off the floor, and then take a little rock and roll all the way from the shoulder blades to the sit bones 3 or 4 times, and then rocking yourself up to a seated cross-leg position. Bring the shins forward so that you're squaring the shins off as much as you can towards the front of the mat. And just take a little press of the fingertips into the floor. Ground through the sit bones, keeping your chin in, lift the heart center. And then start to fold forwards over your crossed legs. When you've reached the maximum fold that the hips will allow, swing the arms round, reach them forwards. If you can bring the elbows to the floor, then bring the elbows to the floor, but otherwise pressing the palms down into the floor. Feel like you're trying to pull the palms towards you as you draw the heart center forwards through the thumbs. If you've got the elbows down, draw the upper arms back towards the shins and engage the upper arms against the shins. And this sense of lengthening the front of the torso, keeping a lift of your heart. But then bring the chin in towards the chest so that the back of the neck releases and is in line with the rest of the spine. Feel like you're trying to expand the back of your body with your inhale breath. Try and soften at the groins, the front of the hips with the exhale breath. And then come back up to a vertical spine position and cross the opposite leg in front. Again, squaring off the shins as much as you can, heels as far forwards underneath the knees. And press into the sit bones, lift the crown of the head and the heart, and take your arms out to the side. Feel like you're drawing your shoulder blades down the back as you reach out through your middle fingertips. Take some deep breaths all the way up underneath your collarbones. As you exhale, have that sense of releasing the shoulder blades and the skin of the back down. One more deep inhale breath, and then as you exhale, bring the right arm underneath the left arm and wrap the arms or hold on to the shoulders if the palms won't come round or you can't hold on to a thumb. If you have brought the palms together, try to lose any kinks in the wrist. So you're lining up the middle fingertips with the elbows gradually over time. Press into the sit bones again, lengthen through the crown of your head and lift the elbows to around the height of the shoulders. Take some deep breaths into your upper back and feel like you're trying to broaden that area with the engagement of the arms against each other and also with your breath. And then release the arms, take them out to the sides. Stretch out through the fingertips, lift the heart, take some deep breaths underneath the collarbones. As you exhale, release the skin of the back. And bring the left elbow underneath the right elbow and wrap. Try and lose the kinks in the wrists if you've got them, and then try and stack the middle fingertips on top of the elbows. Only if you've brought the palms together. And then lift the elbows up to shoulder height. Feel the resistance between the arms and again broaden the upper back with your inhale breaths. As you exhale, you might reground the sit bones and lift the crown of the head. And with an inhale breath, taking the arms back out to the sides and bring them down alongside the body. And take your right arm, reach it out in front of you with the palm facing up and lift it as high as you can. Then bend at the elbow and take that arm down the back. And once you've got it there, form a fist. Then take the left arm up behind the back, reach it up as high as you can, and then form a fist with the left hand. Feel like you're squeezing your left elbow into the side waist and lift your right elbow up to the ceiling. The direction of movement is as if you're trying to get the fists together, but you're drawing that left elbow in as much as you can and lifting the right elbow up as much as you can. Now try and breathe fully, taking expansive breaths into the upper back and chest. Keep lifting the right elbow. And releasing that, take your arms out to the side for a moment. Stretch out through the fingertips, draw the shoulder blades down the back. And bring the arms alongside the body. Reach the left arm forwards in front of you with the palm up. So you're trying to skim that upper arm alongside the face without bending your neck sideways. And then bring the hand down the back, form a fist. Take the right arm up. Once you've walked it up the back as much as you can, form a fist there as well. Press into your sit bones for a moment, lift the heart, reach the crown of the head for the ceiling. Then feel like you're trying to lift the left elbow up and draw the right elbow in. Now find your breath again and make it as expansive as you possibly can. Keep a sense of lifting that left elbow. And releasing that, just bring the arms alongside the body and roll the shoulders. Give yourself a little roll of the shoulders back and a little roll of the shoulders forwards. Then bring your left hand up and take it over to the right side of the head. And just as you ground the right sit bone into the floor, let the weight of the hand Just draw the head over to the left. So you're not yanking on the head, you're not trying to force it. You're just letting the hand rest there. And bring the head back up to the center, release that arm down, and lift the right arm, take it over to the left side of the head, and use the weight of the hand to draw the head over to the right. And release that, and just sweep the knees out to the side and come to all fours position. Ground the palms into the floor and turn the biceps forwards. Have your knees around hip width distance. Just take some slow circles. So swinging the hips off to the side, take them back towards the sit bones, off to the other side, rock forwards a little bit, and then out to the sides and sweep back. So you're having a little rock forwards. So you come into an almost knee down plank position, as well as sweeping back and out to the sides, keeping a really slow and smooth movement. And then turn the circles into the other direction. Leave it slow, sweep back and rock forwards with the hips. And then coming back to a static all fours position. Take a little rock forwards, keep the arms strong, the front heads of the shoulders are stacked over the wrists, and drop the hip bones down towards the floor. As you do, press through the mounds of the thumbs. So you're using that resistance of the floor to get elevation of the chest. And as you press down, the shoulders should move down as well, so you're not losing any of your neck. Keep feeling like you're releasing the hip bones down towards the floor as you let the legs be heavy, the arms are active. And lift it back up slowly to a neutral all fours position. Tuck your toes under, and then pushing forwards through the palms and spiraling the biceps forwards. Take your sitting bones back towards your heels. As you do that, try and maximize the flex of your toes. You're pushing forwards through the palms, bring your chin in towards the chest, but then feel like you're trying to ground the ball of your foot and pull the ball of the foot towards the back of the mat. That's where I have to take my socks off. I've now joined the group. Keep active through the hands. Keep pressing back towards the balls of the feet. And I feel like you're making that action so strong that the knees have to hover off the floor. So see if you can get the knees to hover about an inch off the floor. Keep pressing forwards through the hands, back through the balls of the feet. Now lift the knees a little bit higher, about a foot off the floor. And as you re-push forwards through the hands, try and take the rib cage back towards the thighs. Lift your sitting bones a little bit towards the ceiling. Then re-ground through the balls of the feet and start to extend the heels back and down, keeping the sit bones back, keeping the shoulders back. Try not to pitch forwards. Doesn't matter if the legs don't straighten. And re-ground through the balls of the feet. Feel like you're pulling the back of the mat towards the back of the room. And by tucking your tailbone under, use that action to rock forwards into a plank position. Re-ground through the mounds of the thumbs and push the floor away strongly. Let the upper back ground between the shoulder blades. Ground through the balls of the feet and firm the legs. Draw your navel in and then squeeze the glutes, the buttock muscles. Are you still breathing? Tilt the sit bones back up towards the ceiling and rock yourself back into downward dog position. But re-bend your knees. Take the rib cage back towards the thighs again, and then re-extend the heels down, keeping the sit bones lifted and back. Lift your right leg up in the air behind you. And rock forwards to plank with that leg lifted. Press down through the mounds of the thumbs again, broaden the upper back. Press through the ball of the left foot, firm the left leg. Reach the right toes back behind you strongly, stretch through that leg. And then bend that right knee, bring it towards your upper right arm. Squeeze the thigh up towards the rib cage. Squeeze your heel up towards your buttock. And then flick that right foot forwards between your hands. Have a look at the left foot, check that it's a hip width distance from the right. And press forwards through the right heel and straighten the front leg as much as you can. As much as you can. So remember, we're right at the start of the practice. Might not feel as open as it always does in this position. So keep your left heel lifted. And as you drive through the right heel, so you're driving forwards through your right heel, try and engage the right side quadriceps, front thigh muscles. If you need blocks, you can use blocks, that's perfectly fine. Now keep the chest lifted rather than folding in over the leg. And either pressing the palms or the fingertips into the floor or blocks. Feel like you're pulling the front of the mat towards the back of the mat. Keep drawing up on that right side quadriceps, those right side quadricep muscles. Slight swing of the right outer hip back towards the midline of the mat. Now, if your leg is completely straight and you've got all of that action going on, you might then extend your left heel down towards the floor. Don't lose the action in the front leg. Are you still activating the hands or the fingertips in the floor and pulling them towards the back of the mat as you draw your chest forwards? Just a few little details. All right, so then re-bend your front knee and bring your left knee down to the floor, point your left toes back. Slide the left knee back towards the back of the mat and sink your right sit bone down towards your right heel. Feel like you're letting the left leg fully relax. So you're consciously, you're consciously allowing the front of that left hip to release. Let the back leg be heavy. You can lift your hands off the floor if you want to, but that would mean that you'd have to activate that back leg. Or at least that would make sense. We're just relaxing pubic bone down towards the floor at the moment. And then slowly start to rock back. As you rock back, try and keep the right side rib cage connected to the thigh. Lift the right sole of foot off the floor. So even if the right leg doesn't straighten, see if you can keep some close connection, right side rib cage to the thigh. Then press into your right heel and pull it towards the back of the mat. Flex the right toes back towards your shin. And then see if you can use that action of engaging the quadriceps, front thigh muscles, to get a little bit straighter in the leg. Now try and sit down a little bit more. And rock it back forwards. Tuck your left toes under, lift the left knee off the floor, ground the palms and step that right leg back into downward dog. Now that you're back, bend your knees, press through the palms, take the ribcage back towards the thighs. Lift the sit bones, reground through the balls of the feet and extend the heels down. And lift the left leg up in the air behind you and rock forwards to plank with the leg lifted. Press through the mounds of the thumbs and broaden the space between the shoulder blades. Press through the ball of the right foot, engage the muscles of that leg, and then really stretch the left toes for the back wall. And bend your knee and bring the knee to the upper left arm. Squeeze the thigh up towards the rib cage, heel up towards the buttock. And then step that foot forwards between the hands. Check that your right foot is hip width distance from the left foot, and straighten the front leg as much as you can. Drive forwards through the heel of that left foot and lift the left side quadriceps, swing the outer left hip in, and press into the hands or fingertips on the blocks or the floor, and feel like you're pulling those towards the back of the mat as you draw your chest forwards. Reactivate the front leg. And if you can keep that front leg active, extend the right heel back and down towards the floor. Keep drawing the chest forwards as you pull the hands back. And bend the right knee down towards the floor, point the toes back, and slide that right knee back just as far as it feels comfortable. Sink the pubic bone down towards the floor as you lift the chest. And then try and lose any action at all that's going on in that back leg. So consciously allowing the muscles at the front of the right hip to relax. And then start to rock back, lift the left sole of the foot, keep the left side rib cage connected to the thigh as long as possible. And then ground through the left heel, pull it towards the back of the mat, flexing your toes back towards your shin. Yeah, activate, again, that left leg, pulling the left heel back and trying to engage the left side quadriceps. And then try and sit down a little bit lower. Keep the action in that left leg. I even get the feeling of this stretch through the sole of my foot. So if you're feeling that, you're feeling this in peculiar places, it's such a great stretch release for the whole of the soft tissue in the back of the leg and the foot. Connective tissue. And then rock it back forwards again. Tuck your toes under, lift the right knee off the floor and the hands to the floor. Step it back into downward dog. Let's take some good deep breaths in downward dog. And expand the back of the body with the inhale. As you exhale, draw your navel in. And then starting by tucking the tailbone under, use that action to rock you forwards into a plank position. Now just check that your shoulders are not projecting forwards of your wrists. So you might want to shuffle the feet back. So most of us, our foot to hand relationship in downward dog is shorter than it should be in plank. So you want the front heads of the shoulders slightly behind your wrists. Engage through the balls of the feet, extend the tailbone towards your heels, keep broadening the upper back as you press the mounds of the thumbs down into the floor. And then rock forwards onto the toes and bend the elbows backwards and see if you can come down into chaturanga. If you have to drop the knees to the floor, then do. And then go all the way down onto the belly. Point your toes back. And then come up onto your elbows into Sphinx position. And then elbows maybe slightly forwards of the front heads of the shoulders. Press into the tops of your feet. Press your pubic bone down towards the floor and actively engage your buttock muscles. So feel like you're trying to draw the pubic bone forwards towards the front of the mat. And try and keep all of that action in the legs as you ground through the forearms and the elbows and draw them towards the back of the mat. Lift the heart and then notice if you're still breathing. Now try and take expansive breaths all the way up underneath the collarbones. As you exhale, try drawing your navel in and cinching in the side waist. Keep reactivating the legs and those glutes. And you'll notice that maybe the elbows have stopped drawing back. So it's a constant shifting of attention to different points of awareness. And then specifically reminding yourself to breathe. As releasing all of that action, interlace your fingers, cross at the thumbs, tuck your bottom little finger inside, and bring the forearms back down to the floor. While we're here, instead of that drawing back of the elbows, feel like you're trying to take them without them actually moving, broader on the mat, and almost as if those outer forearms, so the ones that are facing out to the front corners of the room, are trying to take themselves out to the corners of the room. So you're really grounding, but there's a sense of broadening without actually moving. And keep that action, tuck your toes under and convert it to a forearm plank. Press through the balls of the feet, feel the legs engage, press the floor away again, draw your navel in. And then bring that back down, legs, pubic bone to the floor, point the toes back. Just release the hands for a moment and bring the hands alongside the lower rib cage. Feel the connection of the tops of the feet again, pubic bone towards the floor, and then ground the mounds of the thumbs again. And the mounds of the thumbs pressing into the floor. Whenever we've got the hands grounded, that resistance and the power that travels into the upper body has a lot to do with the mounds of the thumbs. Keep those grounded and get a slight sense that you're trying to turn. You can lift the front heads of the shoulders, the chest, chin, by the way, because they'll probably want to lift. As you press the mounds of the thumbs down, get a feeling you're slightly trying to turn your right hand clockwise and your left hand anti-clockwise. So front heads of the shoulders, chest, chin are lifted, and you're feeling the action that's happening as you make those grounding actions against the floor. Then relax for a moment and let the chin come down to the floor. Let everything relax and take a couple of breaths. And then start the process again from the feet up. So ground through the feet, feel the legs firm. Press the pubic bone down, feel the buttock muscles firm. Press through the mounds of the thumbs, like the front heads of the shoulders, chest, chin lift. Feel that slight feeling of a right turn on the right hand, the left turn on the left hand. Is everything active? Take a deep inhale breath. Have an exhale breath, draw the navel in, and then lift up into high cobra. Elbows are still in. You're still pressing into the mounds of the thumbs. Then press through the feet, engage the legs, straighten the arms, and lift that to upward dog. All that's happened is the thighs are hovering. Press through the mounds of the thumbs again, get that slight right turn on the right hand, left turn on the left hand, reground through the tops of the feet, and then roll it slowly over the toes or walk over them, and slowly come back into downward dog. Lift the right leg up in the air behind you. And then slowly with grace, bring it forwards into a lunge without that three-legged plank. Turn the left heel down to the floor and the left toes out towards the side of the mat. And swing your outer right hip back to the midline. Get a good grounding through that outer left foot. And then slowly, so we've done these rotations through the shoulders on the floor. Take that left arm forwards, really stretch it to the front of the room, and then continue your circle, turning the palm out to that left side of the mat. Stretch your fingertips to the ceiling, ground through your front heel strongly, and then keep the front knee bent and lift up into warrior two. Now adjust the distance of the feet if you need to. And take a moment to ground into the outer edge of the left foot and use the left arm to draw the torso back. Keeping that sense of reach through your left arm and the grounding in the outer edge of the left foot, bend your front knee. A little bit lower. Ground forwards through that heel for a moment. Stretch the chest open towards the left side of the mat. Now lift your insteps and lift your hip points. Now bend your front knee again. Keep the insteps lifted. Good. And just sweep the hands over. Bring the hands to the floor. Step that right leg back into downward dog. Lift the left leg up in the air behind you. And then gracefully float it forwards into your lunge. Bring the right heel to the floor, right toes to the side, swing the outer left hip in. And then don't waste your reach. Now really stretch that right arm forwards. Make the rotation as you turn the palm to face the right side of the mat. Push forwards through your front heel and into the outer edge of your right foot. And then draw yourself up into warrior two. Grounding through the outer edge of the right foot. Reach that right arm back behind you. Yes. And then bend the front knee lower. So you want to feel that front leg is working. And the only way to get it to work harder over time and therefore build even more strength and mobility is to work your edge. So we're often working the edge of the poses that we find complicated. Warrior two, we've probably been doing this since the first ever yoga class we went to. It's easy to forget to progress. Now you want to be working at the edge of your strength and the edge of your mobility, so keep challenging that front knee to bend lower. Take a deep inhale breath, draw that right arm back again, lift your insteps, lift your hip points. Sweep that right arm over, hand to the floor, step that left leg back into downward dog and just hang out and breathe forwards. Find your breath, deep inhale breath as you exhale. Might activate the navel drawing in, you might cinch in the side waist. You might even lift your insteps, see what that does to the muscle action in the legs. And then float that right leg back up in the air behind you. And this time forwards into plank with the leg lifted. Press through the nails of the thumbs, broaden the upper back. Ground through the ball of that left foot, firm the left leg. Stretch the toes of the right leg for the back wall. So again, everything is active. And bend the right knee, bring it to your upper right arm. Try and lift the thigh a little bit higher. Squeeze the heel up towards the buttock. And then flick that foot forwards between your hands. Bring the left heel to the floor again, left toes to the side. So we're going back into warrior two, but slowly. Swing that outer right hip in. Reach the left arm forwards. Take that eye stretch to the ceiling and then draw up into warrior two. Press into the outer edge of the left foot. Draw the torso back with the left arm. Bend the front knee low, low, low. Now you can help that action by pressing forwards through the heel of that front foot. That'll help to get more power in the leg. Don't forget the back leg. Lift the hip points, lift the insteps. And take that right arm down to the inside of the right leg and left fingertips to the ceiling. So hover the right fingertip off the floor. Press into the outer edge of the left foot and then bend that right knee lower again. Any lower. Lower. Slide the right shoulder blade down as low as you can go and bring the left hand down to the floor. So feel like you're sliding down the inside of that leg. If you need a block or something underneath the hand, then do. And with the left hand, try to reach the arm back behind you a little bit, just a bit, not a lot. Keep pressing into the outer edge of the left foot. And then bring that left arm forwards over your ear. Try and keep the heel and the fingertips in line. Sorry, I think you might have lost view of me. Have you got me back? Good. It's a difficult position for you to actually say whether you've got me back, isn't it? Yeah, it's all right. I can tell that. Who got me back? All right. Are you happy there in Parsvakonasana? Is it your favorite pose? Do you love this pose? All right. So from there, just sweep yourself back up into warrior two and straighten your front leg. I bet you're grateful for that front leg straightening. So draw that left arm back behind you. Ground again through the outer edge of the left foot. And bring your right hand down onto that right thigh. So you're still reaching the left arm back. Turn the palm in the same direction as the chest. And then slide the right hand down the leg. Keep both shoulder blades in line with that front leg. So just slide down as far as you can go. Keep the action into the outer edge of your left foot. Once you've slid down as far as you can go, activate your front leg. Press forward through the heel, lift the quadricep, and feel like you're moving the outer right hip towards the left side of your mat. Then see if you can slide that hand down just a little bit lower. Draw upon those right side quadriceps. Reach and stretch the left fingertips for the ceiling. And then bending the front knee, bring the hands to the floor and step that right leg back into downward dog. Lift the left leg in the air behind you. Rock forwards to plank with the leg lifted. Press through the mounds of the thumbs, through the ball of the right foot. Reach your left toes for the back wall. And then bend that left knee, bring it to your upper left arm. Try and hitch the knee up a little bit higher, thigh towards the rib cage. Squeeze your heel up towards your buttock. And then flick it forwards between your hands. Right heel to the floor. Outer left hip in. Don't waste the stretch. Really reach through that right arm. Take that rotation through the shoulder. And then come up into warrior two. Challenge yourself on that front knee bend. Then you're trying to keep the outer edge of the right foot grounded. Draw the chest open. Challenge yourself on the knee bend again. And then bring the left arm down and the right middle fingertips to the ceiling. Hovering the fingertip off the floor for now. Now try and get that front knee lower. Use the lowering knee and then a slide of the left shoulder blade down the inside of the thigh if you can. Hand to the floor or block. Sweep that right arm forwards over the ear. Now as you're doing that, you're using the left arm against the leg to press back, and you're pressing into the outer edge of the right foot. Your right shoulder blade is drawing down your back. So this is one thing that we often forget in this pose. The arm becomes lazy, it flops forwards over the head. You want it shooting like an arrow, those right middle fingertips in line with your right heel. Good. Bring the right hand. Oh no, we haven't done triangle, sorry. Okay, that front knee bends. Lift it back up. Straighten your front leg. And left hand onto the leg. Right fingertips to the ceiling. Slide the hand down the leg. So shoulder blades are stacked. You're trying to bring the side of the left torso, side of the right torso on the same line as your front leg. Engage those left side quadriceps. Swing that outer left hip in. Should find that helps you to get more elevation in the chest. Then bend your front knee, bring the hands to the floor, and step back into downward dog. Look forwards between your thumbs. And as you ground through the mounds of the thumbs, spiral your biceps towards the ceiling. And then bend the elbows halfway to the floor. So as you do that, you're pushing forward through the hands and you're trying to bring the elbows in towards each other. Halfway bend. Then push through both hands and straighten the arms. Bring your chin back in towards your chest. Take a couple of deep breaths in downward dog. And again, look forwards between your thumbs. Keep the mounds of the thumbs grounded, but feel like you're trying to turn the biceps towards the ceiling. Bend the elbows halfway to the floor. Keep pushing forwards through the heels of the hands. And then bring both elbows to the floor at the same time, in line with your shoulders. Very good. And ground through the forearms and the elbows. And feel like you're taking the chest backwards and the sitting bones up. So you're in a cross between dolphin and dog. You're not walking your feet in. You're just trying to take your chest back and lift your sit bones high. And come down onto your knees for a moment. So I was just taking my jumper off so I didn't slide, and I seem to have taken off everything else as well. It's not great in this weather. Still, you're getting a rest. Bring your palms together. Make sure your elbows are at shoulder width distance. And then press back onto the balls of the feet. So tuck your toes under. And as you press down through the forearms, press onto the balls of the feet until you feel your knees lighten on the floor. Get the knees to hover a little bit. So you're pressing forward through the forearms, you're pressing back through the balls of the feet. Sit bones are lifting, knees are hovering. And then lift the sit bones higher to straighten the legs. You're pressing through the forearms, taking the chest back. And then take one little step of the feet in towards the elbows. Stay grounded through the right forearm, in fact, left forearm, and lift the right arm up and take it arm in line with your torso. Okay, grounding through that left forearm, ground through the balls of the feet, lift bones, slip bones, arms, right arms reaching back. Then bring that right hand back down to the floor, connect the palms, take a breath for a moment, then right arm stays grounded, lift the left arm up, take the left arm alongside the torso. So you don't need to lift it to the ceiling, just bring it in line with the torso so that the wrist is somewhere around the hip. Then bring that left hand back down. Ground for a moment through both forearms and walk your feet in towards your elbows one more step. Ground through the left forearm, lift the right arm up, take the arm alongside the torso. Bring that arm down, lift the left arm up, take the arm alongside the torso. Bring the left arm down, connect the palms, ground through both forearms and walk your feet in towards the elbows a little bit closer. And take the right arm, you can come to your knees for a little rest if you want to, but then come back up, feet and elbows in the same relationship with each other, and we're going to do it 2 more times. So right arm lifts up, arm alongside the torso, bring it back down, left arm up, arm alongside the torso, bring it back down, ground both forearms, walk the feet in a little bit closer to the elbows. Ground through the balls of the feet, try to engage the leg muscles, lift the right arm up, reach the right arm back alongside the torso. Good. Bring it back down, lift the left arm up, reach the left arm back alongside the torso. Good. Bring it back down and walk yourself back into forearm plank. Have a little breath in between if you like. All right, so ground through the forearms again and feel like you're broadening the upper back. So there's that feeling of taking the outer forearm out towards the corners of the room. And then drop your hips down to the floor, point the toes back, separate the palms, and Sphinx active. Press into the tops of the feet, pubic bone down, trying to draw to the front of the mat, elbows pulling towards the back of the mat. Lift the heart center. And bring the palms together again, tuck the toes under, take it back into forearm plank. And then keeping both elbows grounded, roll onto the outer edge of the right foot and try and stack the left foot on top of it. And then roll back to the center, roll onto the outer edge of the left foot, stack the right foot on top of it. Try and ground both through both forearms. And then come back onto the balls of the feet and bring your hips back down to the floor so you're back into Sphinx pose. And take the hands out to mat width distance and lift, straighten the arms in seal pose. So middle fingertips are pointing out towards the corners of the mat. Press into the tops of your feet and feel like you're trying to draw the pubic bone forwards, which will just activate the muscles at the back of the legs. Press into the mounds of the thumbs and spiral the biceps towards the ceiling. Working on your breath, take deep inhale breaths, and as you exhale, draw the navel in and cinch in the side waist. So as you make that action in the core, you'll find a corresponding reaction in what the legs do. Hopefully, I'll ask you at the end, are my legs reacting to me drawing my navel in? Probably are. All right. So then come back down onto the elbows, peel down to the floor and bring the hands alongside the lower ribs. Ground through the mounds of the thumbs, get that slight right hand turn on the right hand, left hand turn on the left hand. Press into the tops of the feet and then pushing the hands forwards, rise into high cobra. Squeeze the upper arms in. So you've still got that slight right hand turn on the right hand, slight left hand turn on the left hand. And lift the chest again. And start to draw the navel in as you exhale and then just press into the hands, hold of the thighs. So you're just hovering those thighs. Feel like you're trying to pull the feet forwards towards the front of the mat as you lift the heart. And slowly, so you're in a sort of tops of toes plank on the way. Slowly, rock it back into downward dog and have a little walk in downward dog. Bend one knee and bend the opposite knee. And lift the right leg up in the air behind you and float it forwards into lunge. Keep the left palm grounded and lift the right arm up. And ground through the ball of the left foot and swing the outer right hip back in towards the midline of the mat. Lift your left hand up off the floor and come up into a twisted lunge. And once you're up, re-ground through the ball of the back foot. Try and draw the spine back into the center. And then rebend your front knee, but keep firming into the ball of the back foot. Grip the outer right hip over towards the left side of the mat. So in a way, it's like both outer hips are trying to squeeze in towards each other into the center. Reach the right arm back again, open the chest. Then keep the twist and bring your hands into prayer. And then bring that left upper arm to the outside of your right thigh. Press the palms together and again draw that outer right hip in as you firm through the ball of the back foot. Then keeping that hand position, bend your left knee, bring your left knee down to the floor. Point your toes back. And using your right hand, separate the right hand from the left and use that right hand to hug that right thigh a little bit over to the left and work your way down that left arm towards the armpit, down the leg. Then press the left arm against the leg and just draw your right hand back so your right thumb is in your hip crease. So use those hands then, that right hand, to hug that outer right hip back over towards the left side of the mat. Resist with the left arm against the right leg and turn the chest. And bring the palms back together. Tuck your left toes under. And lift your left knee off the floor. So it's usual to sort of catapult out of the twist. Then lift the arms up, come back into a twisted lunge, arms extended. And bring the hands down to the floor and step back into downward dog. Have a little walk out in downward dog. And then lift the left leg up in the air behind you. And float it forwards into lunge. Keep the right palm grounded. Lift the left arm up. And strong grounding through the ball of the back foot, firm the leg. Swing the outer left hip in and lift your right hand up off the floor, coming into twisted lunge. Just going to watch you for a moment. Hands off the floor. Turning the chest out to the left side. And refirm through the ball of the back foot and try and straighten that back leg. Draw your outer left hip in. Yeah, you're twisting soon rather than, yeah, that's it. And bend your front knee a little bit lower. Bring the palms together, keeping the twist, and bring the right upper arm to the outside of your left thigh, or whichever way you're facing, as long as it's the opposite side to what you were last time. Redraw that outer left hip in. Feel like you're bringing both outer hips in towards each other. And with control, bring the straight leg knee down to the floor. Free your top hand and use that to help draw the thigh in. I'm now trying to make references that are left or right because I know some people are in an opposite direction. So slide the arm as low down the leg as you can. So you're bringing the armpit down towards the knee. Next. Then lift that right arm back up in the air, or left arm if it's the top arm. Whatever's your top arm, lift it back up in the air. And then lift your left knee off the floor. So we're doing it slightly different to what we did on the other side. Then bring your palms back together from there. Just to experiment, whichever one felt easier. Good, all right. Lift the torso back up off the leg, and once you're up, extend the arms for a moment. Take a deep breath there. And bring your hands back down to the floor and step back into downward dog. Lift the right leg up in the air behind you. Float it forwards into lunge. Bring your left heel to the floor, setting it up warrior two position. And see if, because you've still got both hands on the floor at the moment, so we're not lifting up into warrior two. See if you can take that right arm underneath your right leg. Just have a little wave. Hello. Okay, so now see if you can get that shoulder just a little bit lower so you can manhandle the leg. See if you can bring the shoulder in somewhere behind your calf or knee. Now lift the hand up again. So you've still got the support of the left hand on the floor at the moment. Lift the hand up again, turn the palm and rest it on your outer right hip. So bend your elbow. Then you lift your left hand off the floor, take it up behind your back, see if you can hold on to your left hand or wrist. So now you've got that, draw your outer right hip over towards the left side of the mat and try and turn the chest towards the ceiling. Good. Now you're trying to bring the shoulder blades in line with that thigh. So swinging that outer right hip over towards the left side of the mat. All right, release it. Bring the hands back to the floor, inside the foot. And bring your left knee down to the floor, point your toes back. And see if you can come down onto your elbows. You can use blocks for the elbows if you want to. If you can't quite get to the elbows, walk your right foot slightly further off to the right side of the mat with the toes pointing off to the corner. So that right leg is adjustable. You can stay on your hands and bend the elbows back. You've got several alternatives. So the right foot being wider will give you a little bit more space. Right foot coming in will test your edge as you gradually open up mobility in the leg. So whichever one you've got, hands down or elbows down, now tuck your left toes under and lift that knee off the floor. Press forwards through your front heel and back through the ball of the back foot. And then walk up onto your hands from that position and step that right leg back behind you. Lifting the left leg up in the air, float it forwards into a lunge. Turn the right heel to the floor, right toes to the side, and get that left arm down. Still got the support of the right hand. Try and get underneath with that left shoulder and reach the arm out to the side. You can even manhandle yourself a little bit lower, a little bit deeper into the crook of the leg. And then bending at the elbow, palm turning out, take it to the outside of the left hip. Ground into the outer edge of your right foot again. Start swinging that outer left hip in as you lift the right hand up. Grab the right fingers, grab the right wrist, grab whatever you can. Bend your front knee lower. All right. So then start to turn the chest. You're using the hands to draw that outer left hip over towards the right side of the mat. Trying to turn your chest towards the ceiling. So it won't turn towards the ceiling. That's not the ultimate aim. It's just the direction of movement that helps you get the shoulder blades stacked. All right, release it. Bring the hands to the floor. Bring the right knee down to the floor and then come down onto the elbows only if you can. You can use blocks or you can bend the elbows back and hover them off the floor. Just the same action as we did when we were going from downward dog to dolphin. Elbows bending slightly back if you're hovering them. Walk the left foot off to the left side if you need a little bit more space. Keep it in if you don't need that space. And then keeping the right toes tucked under, lift the right knee off the floor. Push forwards in the direction of the toes through your left heel. Push backwards through the ball of the right foot. If you've got the elbows really well grounded, create the same action as you would in a forearm plank. So you're feeling like you're pulling the elbows wider without them actually moving. And walk back up onto your hands and step the left foot back into downward dog. Rock forwards onto your knees. Pointing the toes back, take the right foot off to the side and then straighten the left leg and lift the left hand. So you're coming into effectively a knee down side plank. Walk the right knee over towards your right hand if you can, if you've got the space and can keep the left foot on the floor. Ground through the mound of that right thumb and spiral that inner elbow and bicep towards the front of the mat. Ground through the right shin, so press the right shin down strongly and then take the left arm over your ear. Now you're stretching through the side body. If you can ground the outer edge of the left foot as you stretch the left middle fingertip away, then do that. And bring the left middle fingertips back up to the ceiling and lift your left leg up. So dorsiflex the left foot, flex the toes back towards the shin and feel like you're pressing the sole of that foot into the wall behind you. Re-ground through the right shin and re-spiral the right bicep towards the front of the mat. And if you can, bend your left knee and reach for the left ankle and kick that foot back behind you. I'm sorry about the interruptions on the screen. I think it's the people who monitor the floods that are trying to call me. They've been calling me twice a day for the last few days to see if we're all right and we need any help, which is very lovely of them, but we're fine. Okay, so keep kicking that left heel back behind you and keep grounding the right shin. And then release the leg, but elegantly. And bring the foot back down to the floor. Once it's down, lift the right hand up so that you're coming up and you're lifting yourself up, spine vertical over the right shin. Bring the left hand down onto the left thigh, turn the right palm to the ceiling and lift the arm up alongside your head. Then continue to move over to the left. Are you really reaching out through the right fingertips? Those of you who are more flexible in a lateral stretch may well get your hand down to the floor in this position, left hand down. I don't feel like that's the ambition. You want to just feel the grounding of the right shin and the reach and lengthen through the right side of the body. And release that. Bring the hands back down to the floor, bending that left knee, coming back to all fours briefly, left toes off the mat, right leg straightens. Right arm up. Now again, with that left hand, you just want to check that the hand is further forwards towards your front of the mat than your shoulder. I think for most of you it is. It's just that you want that little bit of space between the leg and the hand. You can get the knee a little bit closer to the hand over time, but you're still going to have the wrist forwards of the shoulder. And ground through the left shin. It's spiraling that left bicep forwards and take the right arm over your ear. If you can ground into the outer edge of the right foot, or at least feel like you're trying to, then you'll maximize that lengthening extension through the right side body. And bring the right middle fingertip back towards the ceiling, lift the right leg up. Dorsiflex the right foot, toes back towards the shin, ground through the left shin, keep spiraling the left bicep forwards. And then bend the right knee. Knee can come towards the chest if it helps. And grab hold of that right ankle. Then kick the foot right back behind your sit bone. Keep the grounding of the left shin and the spiraling of the left bicep forward. So keep reminding yourself to bring attention to those actions. And release that leg. Re-extend the right fingertips for the ceiling. Bring the foot down to the floor and then continue to rise. So the left hand lifts. Right hand down onto the leg. Left middle fingertips to the ceiling. And slide the hand down the leg as you reach over to the right. Keep grounding through the left shin. So you're looking for the extension and the length more than you're looking for the bend. Use your breath to find some space. And then bring that back up, windmill the arms back round to the floor. As you bring the knee to the floor, tuck the toes under and take it back into downward dog, chin in. Let the breath flow for a few breaths. And walking your hands back towards your feet. Start to sit down into a chair as you go back. Feet are around hip width distance, but take them out now so that their outer edges of the feet are parallel with the sides of your mat. So you've gone really wide, bent knees, you're leaning forward, sat in a chair. Oh, it's like you're trying to shuffle that rib cage down between your inner thighs. Elbows can bend. Have the rib cage snuggled against the thighs, and then with your first two fingers, slot the first two fingers between your big toe and your second toe. Feet are quite wide. We're halfway between a standard hip width feet distance forward bend and a wide-legged forward bend. Bend the elbows out to the side, draw your shoulder blades down your back, and let the head be heavy, reach the crown of the head for the floor. And then press the outer heels out towards the side of the mat as you lift the sit bones up towards the ceiling. So try and keep the ribcage contact. Inner thighs will start to move back. Keep drawing the shoulder blades down the back and lengthening your neck out of your shoulders. And straighten the arms as you pull up on the toes and draw your chest forwards. And straighten the legs if you haven't, or get close to it, and engage your quadriceps. So front thigh muscles, tilt the sit bones back up towards the ceiling, press into the outer edges of the feet, feel like you're taking the outer heels wider without them actually moving. And then release the toes, bring your hands to your hips, and draw yourself up to standing. Have a little wander to the front of your mat. Keep the hands on the hips. Ground through the feet, lift the heart, release the shoulder blades down the back. And keep all of that length from the feet to the crown of the head. Lift your right knee up in front of your right hip. First two fingers between big toe and second toe, or hand on the shin just below the knee. Re-establish your vertical line, so the lift of the chest and the broadening of the shoulders. Strong grounding through the left foot. Think about the angle of your right thigh and try and keep that angle as you start to extend the heel up towards the ceiling. Just as much as you can. Don't compromise your vertical line for the extension of the leg. Kick the toes up into the fingers and draw the shoulder blades down the back. Then take the leg out to the side. Keep that lift and openness in your chest. And then bring the leg back to the center. Then bring the foot to the floor, bring the hands to the hips and keep the leg lifted as high as you can. While you've got it lifted, have a little play with the position of your foot. So point the toes, flex the toes back, extend through the heel, point the toes, flex the toes back, extend through the heel. And then bring that leg down and lift the left knee up, decide shin or big toe. Find your vertical line, elegance and grace, openness in the chest, good. Then extend the leg, thinking about the angle of the thigh. Like that, lower legs just trying to extend straight up on the same angle. Yeah. One last lift of the chest as you breathe underneath the collarbones, and then take the leg out to the side. And bring it back to the center. And without dropping the foot to the floor, hands to the hips. Have a little play with dorsiflexion and plantar flexion of your foot. And then bring that foot back down to the floor. And just bring your hands to prayer position in front of the chest. So feet can be together or hip width distance. Ground through the balls of the feet, heels of the feet, slight lift of the insteps, slight lift of the heart, broaden across the collarbones, release the shoulder blades down the back. And as you look down the tip of the nose, just focusing on your breath. And taking the hands back down to the hips, rock the weight over to the left foot, lift the right knee up. So you can use the right hand on the right shin if you want to get a bit of stability. Otherwise, just reach the left hand down, take the outside of that right foot. So it's opposite hand to foot. And taking that right arm back behind you, start to extend your right leg forwards. You're grounding through the left foot, trying to lift and broaden the chest. Kick the foot slightly into the hand, but draw back from the shoulder. And gently bend the knee. Release that foot down. And without thinking about it too much, left knee up, using the left hand on the shin if you want to draw the knee in so you can reach better. Re-establish your vertical line, take the left arm behind you, kick the left foot forwards. Good, everybody's there. And then release that in the leg back down, hands back into prayer, step the feet out to around mat width distance and turn the toes out. And then sit down into squat position, Malasana. Now you can adjust the heels as you want to, so there is a little bit more space generally if you take the heels wider, but there's a maximum to how much you can do that. Try and get the upper arms as low as you can between the legs. Thumbs back towards the chest. And then a feeling of lifting the heart. So the upper arms are engaging against the inside of the legs. And squeeze the thighs in onto the arms as well as pressing the arms back into the thighs. And bring your hands down to the floor. So hands are at shoulder width distance. And see if you can hop up onto your toes and bring your feet closer together. So you're in a, like, you know, when we were kids, if we were pretending to be frogs. If that's only me, but this is your first time pretending to be a frog. So bring it onto the balls of your feet. So then lift up a little bit with the sit bones. Draw the hands a little bit closer to the feet, but you don't want them too close. And bend the elbows. So elbows are at shoulder width distance. So it's like you're trying to get down into that squat again. Upper arms connecting to the inside of the legs. Keep looking forwards and grip your fingertips into the floor as you rock some weight of the shins onto the arms. And then lift the feet and squeeze the big toes towards each other. Or the insides of the feet. So see if you can bring the feet up and together. If you prefer to get your knees into your armpits, because you can create shelves of your upper arms, you can do that. But if the knees are on the outer arms, squeeze them. Squeeze those in the thighs. All right, good. Then bring it back down to the floor and come back into that squat position. All right, so feet need to be reasonably wide now. So take the feet wide and then lift your bottom again, but this time take the arms through your legs. So you're reaching the arms towards the back of the room. Feel like you're trying to get the rib cage low between those inner thighs. Then you reach your arms back And then bend at the elbows and face your palms down towards the floor. So it's like you're taking your hands to the outsides of your feet and hovering them a little bit above them. And then see if you can sit down a little bit and bring your palms to the floor. So the legs are wrapping around your arms. If the palms don't come down to the floor, don't worry about it. If the palms don't come to the floor, same position, but then try and straighten your legs, but resist with the arms against the back of the legs. So you're straightening your legs if the hands don't ground, or you're aiming. You're not actually going to straighten your legs, you're just sending them in that direction. But you're just getting your palms pressing into the floor if you've managed to get the arms through the legs. All right, good. So now release that, bring the arms back through and sit down a little bit lower, take the hands back behind you, and then extend the legs out into a Upavishta Konasana. Extend away through the heels, flex the toes back, lengthen through the spine, bring your arms forwards, and then pull the hands back towards you as you draw the hands forwards. If the elbows hit the floor, you can do the same with the forearms. Press the inner thighs down towards the floor. And then come back up to sitting, and with a casual internal and external rotation of the legs, bring your feet back in towards each other. And then bend your right knee and see if you can take that foot back so that the foot is alongside your hip. If that's painful for the knee at all, or the sit bones won't go down on the floor, you can grab a block or a cushion and stick that under the straight leg side, under your sit bone, or a cushion or a pillow or anything that you've got. Whichever thing brings you into that position sensibly. Once you're there, take the hands back behind you. And you're going to gradually lean back. So you might be on the hands. You might be on the elbows. It might be that you can completely lie down and bring your shoulders to the floor. You don't want the knee to hover too much. So wherever you end up, you're descending that right knee down towards the floor. If it's like wobbling about a foot off the floor, then you need to take yourself back up some levels through the elbows and the hands. So wherever you are, now try and extend so that you're grounding through the whole shin all the way from the top of the foot to the knee. Breathe to the front of your right hip. Then walk yourself back up onto your hands. Free that right leg and go for the left one. So if you are up on a block or cushion on that right side in order to get even in the pelvis, it's unlikely you're going to get your shoulder blades down on the floor. Elbows is probably going to be maximum. Hands with bent elbows is, quite possible. So this is quite a strong stretch through the front of the left hip, but for some people, this feels like nothing. So if you're one of those people, just enjoy chilling out lying on your back in this pose. Yeah, and then walk yourself back up for a moment. And if you have got anything under anything, when you've released that left leg, take away the block. Bend at the knees so your soles of your feet are on the floor, and reach your arms forwards in front of you. Then with a little control, just rolling down from the bottom vertebrae to the top vertebrae. Bring the spine to the floor. Take the arms out to the side, palms facing up. And then choosing your version of Shavasana. So it could be that you have knees bent, feet hip width distance, heels away from the sit bones. Could be you have straight legs, or if you're happy in Supta Baddha Konasana with the soles of the feet together, the knees out in diamond shape, then that's an option. Whichever one you decide, press into the back of the head and lift the shoulder blades, draw the skin of the back down one more time. Lengthen the crown of the head from the back of the room, bring the chin slightly in. Allow your eyes to fall closed, and with a deep inhale breath, fill the whole of the ribcage space, and with your exhale breath, sink the contact points of the back of the body into the floor. Let the skin of your face soften and the inside of the mouth soften and become spacious. And as you bring your gaze in, take another check-in with the sensations of the body, the emotional tone. So in this yoga process, we're just learning to hone our awareness onto the details, to be able to focus our attention and shift our attention rapidly from one thing to another without getting caught up in any one thing. So this little moment to take this observation of how you feel, both on the physical plane and the emotional plane. It's useful to just start to cultivate that position of witnessing without involvement. And the most powerful tool for this process of observation and awareness is your breath. So anchor your focus back to the flow of the breath. And when you get pulled out of that center, it's just a matter of noticing when you do and reminding yourself to come back to following your breath.